guys, welcome back. Here is another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about my 10 top reads so far for the year 2025. Now, I've seen this on TikTok and I absolutely love the trend, so I thought, hey, why not do a YouTube video for it and go into why I love these books so much. Let's just address the thumb in the room. I recently got a new air fryer and savagely cut my thumb when I was unboxing it. We just got to ignore this. So I hope that you guys are doing well and having a great start to your week or weekend, whenever you're watching this. Let's get into what I'm reading currently, and then we can talk about my top 10 reads so far this year. So my current read that I am absolutely loving is, of course, Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Stormlight Archive, and just wow, this book is incredible. If you haven't read it yet, please add the Stormlight Archive to your reading list because it's so worth it. It may be a big book at over 1,000 pages, but oh my god, is it pure perfection. This is like visiting old friends, as one of my TikTok besties Chloe said when we were buddy read it. She's actually finished hers. I haven't. I'm only like 450 pages in, so getting to the halfway point, but wow, the story just follows on so well from The Way of Kings, and definitely I'm loving this so far, but I haven't read it yet, so it's not on my top 10 yet, but I imagine it may bump something off. But yeah, really enjoying this. Let me know in the comments down below what book you're currently reading, and yeah, let's get into my top 10 reads. So this isn't in any particular order, but I kind of do my top 3 of the top 10 towards the end. But let me introduce this book to you. If you love horror and all things fantasy and are obsessed with kind of Dante's Inferno's kind of idea of hell, although it's not really based on Dante's Inferno, it kind of gives those vibes, then this book is for you, and that is Lost Gods by Brom. Is incredible. It blends all things horror and fantasy. There's angels, demons, gods, and it has a beautiful blend of mythology and religion. And basically the main character that you follow, Chet, however you say it, is just been released from prison, and he has to go on this kind of descent through hell to try and save his family. And oh my god, it's just incredible. The ending is just like wow, like jaw drop. So it's a one-off, it's a standalone, it's a great read. It's not too chunky, and there's some amazing artwork in here. Just let me put the microphone down and I can show you. So yeah, amazing artwork in here, and definitely one to read. It's the first book I read of Brom's, but I definitely need to read more later this year. So yeah, definitely recommend to add to your TBR. Book 2, which actually is funny because it's book 2 of a series. Now, I started reading this indie author this year called AC Salter, who I actually met in recently met in the Bristol book event, which I absolutely loved. He's a really lovely person. His wife Jane is lovely, and I've really been enjoying his books, the Bane of the North series. I've only read 2, but I'm actually hoping to read Crooked Shard, which is book 3 of the Bane of the North, later this month. That is made it to my top 10 is Rise of the Draugr, which I read on my Kindle, so I'll pop a picture up here. This was an incredible book too. So book 1 I really loved. I rated it 5 stars. I thought it was a great introduction with kind of Nordic kind of Viking themes, with this underlying magic with gods. It was really good and I really enjoyed it. But book 2 was definitely a step up. I loved it even more than I did book 1. The twists and turns and the betrayal, Adrian will know what I'm on about here, but yeah, it was so good, and it ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm really excited to get to book 3, The Crooked Shard, later this month. But yeah, really enjoyed it, and that's why it's on my top 10 reads so far of this year. Now, book 3, let's get into it. Now, this book comes with a warning, and that warning is if you read it, it will break you. But sometimes we need to be broken to grow. And that's why this book is on here. And that is The Sword of Kaigan. And this book goes into kind of like culture, kind of war themes. And oh my God, the emotions that you go through in this book is like a blooming roller coaster. I absolutely loved it. The ending, oh, I was just devastated. Like partway through this book, you're just going to get to a point you're like, it's too painful to carry on. And not because it isn't good, but just because the author just does an amazing job at kind of taking you on this journey through this book. And I absolutely loved it. I just wish that it was a bigger series because I just needed more after reading this. Like I was like, I'm not ready to kind of like leave and forget about this world. Well, I'm never going to forget about it because it's just incredible. But yeah, definitely one of my top 10 reads so far for this year. If you have read it, then you'll know what I'm on about. If you haven't, please add it to your TBR because it is worth all the pain it brings. But ML Wang did an incredible job with this book. And actually, it's not the only one that I have from ML Wang on here, because my next book is another one of the author's work, and that is Blood over Brighthaven. Now, let me tell you, Sword of Kaigan, emotional roller coaster, makes you want to cry, but you'll love it. This book, oh my days, I loved it. Let me tell you, badass female main character, like you just need to read it to understand. This book is incredible. Siona is the most badass female main character ever. She basically gets into this institute, this prestigious kind of like postgraduate kind of magic working place, where she is pretty much the only woman. Men kind of dominate this area. There's hardly ever any woman in the field, and basically she is kind of driven to become one of the best at what they do. This has a very unique magic system. Basically kind of they use like a typewriter tool in here to basically like write and code spells, but I don't want to go into anything more than that because you find out quite early on kind of like how the magic system works. But let me tell you, the ending, oh my God, is probably one of my like all-time favorite endings to a book. It was just like pure action and pow 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 and a big F you to the patriarchy of men from this book. So I love it, and I really hope that if you haven't read it and you do, that you will love it too, because it is one that everyone should read if you are a lover of fantasy and strong female main characters. So definitely one for you to read. Now, a special mention, I did it as an audiobook, so I'm not putting on my top 10 books that I've read, but I will pop a picture up here, and that is Dungeon Crawler Carl. Now, this book is, I don't know what it is, but it's just incredible. It's the most random, chaotic, just kind of all-encompassing story that just had me absolutely hooked. Like, the main character, Carl, is incredible, and then you also have Princess Donut, who is just a joy. Like, listening to the audiobook is just so worth it because the characterization of the voices is incredible, and you just get sucked in. Like, I've been listening to it on my way to and from work, and I don't even want to know where the time goes. Like, I literally blink and then I'm home, because I've just been so drawn into the story. And I've just started book 2 on Audible, which I'm really enjoying. It's just as good as book 1. Like, stuff happens in that book and I'm just like, how has anyone thought of it? It's literally just like, it's like a book on steroids. It's just insane, and the things that happen, you're just like, where is the book going next? Like, how can they top that? But they do, and it's just so amazingly done. And if you don't know, basically like an alien kind of enterprise kind of takes over the planet, and everyone's kind of forced to go into these dungeons, which is actually like a live reality TV show called Dungeon Crawler. And basically it's just like this mad kind of series of events that take place as they explore the dungeons, and you find out more about like how the dungeon works and what's the overall prize. Don't want to tell you too much, but please listen to the audiobook, or if not, just read the book, because it is absolutely incredible and is a joy, and is probably one of the funniest books I have read in a fantasy genre in a long time, apart from one of the books that I'm going to mention in my top 10. But the humour is incredible. So please, please, please pick it up and let me know once you've read it. Because if you don't enjoy it, then I don't know what you're going to like, because it's just so, so good. But let us get back to the top 10. So we got to book 4. So let's talk about book 5. Now, this book is by an author who I haven't actually read much of their work before, but I know they're quite well known for some of their other work. And that is Joe Abercrombie, because I have recently read The Devils, and it was incredible. Definitely a 5-star read. And this is the book that I just thought was hilarious. Like, the characters in there are so well written, and the humour is just so well balanced between these characters. Like, I just can't tell you. You just need to read it to understand, because it's basically an amalgamation of kind of like gothic horror meets Suicide Squad style kind of like comedy. And yeah, this kind of like bunch of kind of misfits in the world. We have a werewolf, we have a vampire, we have a warlock. It's just incredible. Like, I absolutely loved it. From start to finish, the story had me hooked. And the characters, although there's quite a few that you follow, it never felt kind of muddled or slow, because the points of view change within a scene, but it just adds that extra punch to what's happening like in the story, because you're seeing it through that character, and they have like these weird kind of like quirks to them, which are kind of like quite funny or quite serious, and that kind of shifts the narrative for that scene. So yeah, really, really well done. First off, look how beautiful this is. Like, this is the Waterstones limited edition, which is signed, which I was so, so happy to pick up. But yeah, definitely going to read more of Joe Abercrombie's work. And if you've read any of his work, definitely comment down below what you thought. But The Devils was definitely a read that is a must for this year. So definitely want to add to your TBR. Now, this book is very, very special, because it's probably one of the all-time best fantasy books I've read. And yeah, you'll be surprised. It's not a Brandon Sanderson book. It's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Yeah, so this book is absolutely incredible. I love, love, love R.F. Kuang's work. I really enjoyed Babel, and I am so, so excited for Catabasis when it comes out later in this month of August. But this book, oh my days, it just had me hooked. So I never thought I'd be like a massive fan of like military-esque kind of like under themes in this world, but it just had me hooked. I love kind of Rin's adventure to this military college, and kind of her development or discovery of the shamanic powers that they have in this world. And the ending was just wow, wow, wow. Like, I just didn't know where the book was going, and it was a real page turner. I took it on holiday with me, and I literally read pretty much half the book on the plane, because I just couldn't put it down. It's definitely making the top 3 of my it's definitely making the top 3 of my top 10 reads of this year. So my second book in my top 3 reads for this year is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Let me tell you, this is another incredible read. I mean, they're all incredible. That's why they're in my top 10. But I absolutely adored this. Like, I never thought I'd be a big sci-fi fan, and it's definitely kind of like a sci-fi fantasy. It's not heavy sci-fi, but I just absolutely kind of ate this book up. You kind of meet this character called Darrow, who's the main character that you follow, and he kind of goes on this adventure after and you discover basically how the hierarchy system of the world works. So he's a red, which is kind of like the lowest in society, and basically they don't understand that they're basically kind of slaves in this world. But you go on his adventure kind of realizing this, and how he's going to act to change that. Let me tell you, the first few chapters have had me hooked, and then you kind of meet a bit of tragedy, which then it kind of accelerated my need to know how this book was going to kind of portray and play out. I love Darrow and the other characters that you meet. I love the world building of kind of like the hierarchy class system. We've kind of the different houses of the world and how kind of their names mean something in terms of their population, with the golds, who are kind of basically seen as the gods of this civilization. And I cannot wait to get into book 2, which is Golden Sun, which I'm hopefully going to read this month if I can get myself through the Words of Radiance. But this is definitely one to pick up because you will not be disappointed. And I loved it so much. That's why it's in my top 2 of my top 10. Now, you may be thinking, hang on, because you've only mentioned 7 books, Ben, and you're already talking about your top 3. Now, the reason why I do that is because all of the next books on my top 10 are from the same author. I'll pause a few seconds for you to guess. Yes, it's Brandon Sanderson. And if you didn't guess that right, well, you don't know me enough. Check out my TikTok. Yes, my all-time favourite read for the year 2025 so far is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. And of course, it's book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. This book was a 6-star for me. Yeah, I rated it 6 stars. I only kind of usually use 5 stars, but it just deserved it so much. The story that you follow through the characters is just absolutely incredible. Like, there aren't many characters that you follow, but you just get so kind of hooked into their life in this story. And for 1,000 pages, it didn't feel like it reading it. I just kind of like was flowing through and didn't realize until I got to the end that I was like, wow, that didn't take me long to read. The kind of main characters that you follow, my favourites are Kaladin and Shaylin. You kind of go on this experience of Kaladin of kind of being sold in as a slave, and kind of his rise from that. And in that story, you kind of follow his kind of understanding of kind of depression and how you work your way out of kind of that kind of deep pit that you can sometimes get into. And I really related with that, and that's why I really loved the story. And I thought that Shaylin was a really strong female character, all about kind of like empowerment, and kind of being your own kind of force of nature. And I really loved that about her. But yeah, this was just an all-round incredible book. The story building and the world building was just amazing, and it was really character driven. Like, you just fall in love with these characters and you just want to know what happens next. And let me tell you, the Sanderlanche at the end is probably one of the best Sanderlanches ever. It's just so well done, so it's definitely something that you should pick up and read. There is a kind of like suggested reading order, but you know, if you just want to crack straight into the Stormlight Archive, I ain't going to stop you because it's just so worth it. So yeah, this is my top read so far of the year 2025. You can follow kind of my battle of the books that I'm doing on my TikTok. But let's just talk about the other 2 Sanderson books. So these are in my top 10. They're not in my top 3, but I just thought I'd do all the Brandon Sanderson at the end, so that it didn't seem so repetitive. So this book is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Really, I wish I could put all 3 of the Mistborn trilogy because they're just all so amazing. But the reason why I put the first one is because it's the one that drew me in, and the one that I started and was my first read into Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I just absolutely love the magic system with the kind of metallurgy, where kind of burning different metals gives you different abilities. I absolutely love the characters in here like Vin and Kelsia. It's just so well done. Brandon Sanderson's really hit a nail on the head here. I wish it wasn't just 3 books. I wish it was like 10, because I just fell in love with these characters and was really sad when I finished the trilogy. But it's a great introduction book as well, I think, to the world of kind of higher fantasy, but is so well read. Like, it is not complex to read or understand. Everything is explained really well, and anything that you kind of feel that you don't know, you definitely know by the end of the book. Like, that's kind of intentional by Brandon. And yeah, really loved it. So if you're looking for a great start to fantasy, and you want to try something kind of like a high fantasy, then I recommend the Mistborn trilogy because I think it's an amazing start. And then following on from that, and our last book in the top 10 is probably one of my all-time favourites, bar The Way of Kings in Brandon Sanderson's work. And it's a standalone. So it's really, really to kind of pick up and read. And you may not even have to kind of like invest in the whole Cosmere if you don't want to. And that is Warbreaker. Now, this magic system is just incredible. It's based off kind of the hue of colors with something called breath, which is basically kind of like the power source of the magic system. And everyone has breath, and basically you can collect more than your own and give you more power. And they kind of have these people who are known as the gods, who kind of are resurrected after death with loads of breath, basically, and power. And you kind of follow two sisters. It's called Viviana and Siri, and they're just a joy to read. Like the book has got quite like a good kind of like humorous undertone with some of the interactions that happen. But I just love how these two women kind of thought that the destined paths that they'd be on is what would happen. But actually, when things get kind of like crossed and their kind of worlds are tipped upside down, it's really interesting to follow their narrative. I think they're two really good, strong female main characters, and I really, really love the interaction that they have. The world building is just incredible, but the magic system is just something else. Like when you read about the magic happening with the kind of like shift in the hues of colors, like my imagination was just doing wonders. Like it's just so good. Like I can't even explain it. You just need to read it. I think it's a really good standalone book, and personally, although I don't really see it recommended as a starting point into the Cosmere, I think it's a really, really good book that may kind of like make you want to invest more into reading Brandon Sanderson's work. It's not maybe the best start in terms of like some of the kind of like earlier work, like Elantris that he did, but Warbreaker has been one of my all-time favourite reads, and I absolutely loved it. So personally, if I was to do it all over again, I probably want to read this first, but that's only because I know how good it is. It's not that the others aren't as good. It's just I really, really love the magic system. It just spoke with me on it. And yeah, definitely recommend you adding to your TBR. So that's my top 10 reads so far of the year 2025. I've had an amazing reading year so far. And yeah, it's really, really hard actually to decide a top 10 because I love so many books in their own way, as I'm sure you guys do too. But yeah, definitely give me a like down below. And I really appreciate if you could subscribe. Really, really enjoy making these YouTube videos. So I will see you in the next one.